Eden Brooks knew something was wrong the second her tray began to shake. Not because it was heavy. She had carried trays heavier than this since she was 19, champagne towers, crystal tumblers, silver buckets slick with melting ice. Her wrists were strong. Her posture flawless. Years of service had trained her body to obey even when her mind screamed. This was different. This was fear, sharp and immediate, cutting straight through muscle memory and lodging in her bones. She slowed her steps instinctively, steadying her breath as she crossed the casino floor of the Golden Legacy. The chandeliers above her still glittered, but their light felt tired now, dulled by age and neglect. The red and gold carpet beneath her heels bore the faint scars of decades of spilled drinks and lost fortunes. The air smelled like cigarette smoke soaked into velvet and desperation disguised as cologne. Vegas was loud, but the Golden Legacy had a quieter hum these days, less roar, more wheeze. A once great name clinging to reputation, while newer, shinier casinos rose like predators along the strip. Eden felt every eye on her as she moved. She always did. Not because she was flashy, she wasn't. Petite, curvy, dark-skinned, her beauty was soft rather than sharp. Warm eyes. Full lips that curved easily into a polite smile. She didn't command attention by force, she drew it in without trying. Men leaned toward her. Women trusted her. Staff deferred to her authority without question. She was the backbone of this place, whether the owners knew it or not. Tonight, though, her pulse wouldn't slow. Table 7 sat near the center of the VIP floor, roped off with velvet and guarded by a pair of discreet security men who looked more bored than alert. High-stakes players only. Private dealers. Crystal ashtrays that were never empty. She approached with practiced ease, her tray balanced on one palm. Top-shelf bourbon, she said smoothly, placing the glass in front of the man seated closest to her. He didn't look at her face. His gaze lingered on her wrist. The faint bruise she tried to cover with makeup that morning. Her fingers tightened around the tray. Across the table sat a man she hadn't seen before. He was very still. Not the restless stillness of gamblers riding adrenaline, nor the slouched boredom of men too rich to care. This was something else, controlled, deliberate. As if every movement had been measured and deemed unnecessary. He was Korean. That much was obvious. Tall, even-seated, broad shoulders stretching the line of his tailored black suit. His hands rested loosely on the felt, long fingers relaxed, unadorned, no rings, no watch. His face was devastating in a quiet way, sharp jaw, straight nose, dark eyes set beneath lashes too thick to be fair. He looked up. Not quickly. Not lazily. Slowly. His gaze met hers, and Eden's breath caught despite herself. There was no hunger in his eyes. No entitlement. No leering interest like she was used to. There was assessment. And something colder. "Are you cold?" he asked softly. The question startled her so badly she nearly laughed. "No," she said automatically. "I'm fine." His eyes didn't leave her face as he reached for his drink, and as his cuff shifted, Eden caught a glimpse of dark ink at his wrist, clean lines disappearing beneath the sleeve of his tailored suit. Not flashy. Not sloppy. Controlled. The kind of tattoos you didn't get to decorate yourself. The kind you earned. His fingers brushed the glass, and then he paused. His gaze flicked back to her wrist. The bruise. "Someone is hurting you," he said. It wasn't a question. Eden's heart slammed so hard she was sure he could hear it. She straightened instinctively, her smile tightening at the edges. "You don't know me," she said quietly. "No," he agreed. "But I know fear." For a moment, the world around them seemed to fade. The clatter of chips, the murmur of conversation, the ringing slot machines, it all dulled to a distant echo. Behind her, Eden felt it before she saw him. Vince. He always knew where she was. She didn't turn around, but her spine stiffened as his presence pressed closer. The air shifted. The faint scent of his cheap cologne crept into her space. "Everything okay here, sweetheart?" Vince asked, his voice oily and too loud. The man at the table finally looked away from Eden. And focused on Vince. Eden had seen men look afraid before. High rollers when the cards turned. Loan sharks when a deal soured. Employees when payroll ran late. But the way Vince's smile faltered, just a fraction, sent a chill down her back. "Yes," Eden said quickly. You're done, Vince cut in smoothly. I'll take it from here. His hand closed around her elbow, fingers biting just enough to remind her who held the leash. The stranger's gaze sharpened. You're hurting her, he said calmly. Vince laughed, but there was no humor in it. Buddy, you should mind your game. The man's lips curved, not in a smile, but something colder. I am, he replied. Eden felt the weight of his words settle like a promise. Vince steered her away before she could say anything else, his grip tightening as they moved toward the service corridor. She didn't resist. She never did, not openly. Resistance cost more than compliance. Once they were out of sight of the floor, Vince released her with a shove. Watch your mouth, he hissed. And your face. You look sloppy tonight. I'm doing everything you asked, Eden said, her voice low. Controlled. Leroy is alive, Vince snapped. Because I allow it. Her jaw clenched, but she said nothing. That was how it worked. Silence bought survival. Vince leaned in, his breath hot against her ear. Basement. 10 minutes. Then he was gone. Eden stood alone in the corridor, her chest tight, her hand shaking now that she no longer had to pretend. She closed her eyes. Basement. The word itself made her stomach churn. The Golden Legacy's basement wasn't on any official map. It wasn't advertised. It wasn't acknowledged. But everyone who mattered knew it was there. Illegal games. Private debts. Desperate men with nowhere else to go. That was where her brother had fallen. Leroy had always been too big-hearted for his own good. Too trusting. Too eager to prove he could handle things himself after their parents died. Eden had warned him about the backroom tables, about Vince and his kind. He'd gone anyway. One bad night. One rigged game. One signature he didn't understand. $500,000. Eden had walked into the basement the next morning and offered herself instead. Not her body. Her obedience. Smuggling chips from the VIP floor. Walking them discreetly to Vince's men. Paying the interest while the principal stayed untouched, looming over them like a guillotine. She adjusted her blazer, squared her shoulders, and headed for the staff elevator. She didn't see the man from table 7 rise from his chair. Didn't see him slip a stack of chips to the dealer without waiting for the count. Didn't see the way his eyes followed her until the doors swallowed her whole. Lee Jun-woo didn't believe in coincidence. He believed in patterns. And Eden Brooks was a pattern screaming to be corrected. 3 nights. He had watched her for 3 nights. The way she ran the floor without ever raising her voice. The way men listened when she spoke, even when they didn't realize why. The way she smiled like kindness was armor rather than weakness. And the way that smile dimmed whenever she thought no one was looking. He had seen the men who hovered too close. The subtle intimidation. The bruises hidden beneath fabric and foundation. A queen being used as a pawn. It offended him. Jun-woo gathered his coat and moved toward the private elevators, not the ones guests used. The ones that required keys and favors and unspoken understanding. The security guard at the door hesitated when he approached. I need access to the lower level, Jun-woo said. The guard swallowed. That area's restricted. Jun-woo met his gaze. I'm aware. There was something in his eyes, something vast and calm and merciless, that made the guard's hand move without conscious thought. The elevator doors slid open. Jun-woo stepped inside. As the doors closed, his reflection stared back at him, immaculate, composed, lethal. Vegas was a city built on debt. Tonight, he intended to collect. The elevator descended. And somewhere below, Eden Brooks walked back into hell, unaware that death itself had decided to follow her down. The basement was colder than the casino floor, like the Golden Legacy itself wanted to forget what lived beneath it. Eden stepped out of the staff elevator and forced her shoulders back. The smell hit her first, stale tobacco, old whiskey, damp concrete. The lighting was low and jaundiced, designed to blur faces and stretch time. Somewhere behind a steel door, men laughed too loudly. Somewhere else, someone swore and then went quiet. She didn't slow. Fear was a currency down here. And Vince always collected interest. The hallway narrowed until it ended at an unmarked door with a keypad and a camera lens staring down like an unblinking eye. It clicked open before she knocked. Inside, the Golden Legacy's real heart beat ugly and slow. A long table. Green felt. Thick stacks of cash and chips. 2 guards leaning in opposite corners, posture loose but eyes sharp. A dealer with hands that never quite stopped shaking. A handful of regulars Eden recognized, men who smiled politely upstairs and bared their teeth below. Vince sat at the head like a king who ruled rot instead of land. "About time," he said. Not a greeting. A reminder. Eden kept her face smooth. "You said 10 minutes. I said basement." Vince's gaze slid over her, lingering. "And you showed. Good girl." Her jaw tightened. "Where's Leroy?" she asked. Vince smiled, slow and indulgent. "Breathing." It was the closest thing to reassurance he ever gave. He reached under the table and set a velvet pouch on the felt, letting it clink softly. "Chips." Her stomach twisted. "Same deal," he said. "You walk." Eden reached for the pouch, and froze. Because the air changed. Not sound. Not movement. Presence. She felt it before she turned. Lee Jun-woo stepped into the room like he owned the oxygen. Conversation died instantly. Even the dealer paused mid-shuffle. He didn't belong here. Not because he was too clean. Plenty of rich men walked into filth when it served them, but because he carried himself like filth would move out of his way. Black suit. Perfect fit. Broad shoulders. Stillness that felt deliberate rather than cautious. The suit should have made him look like he didn't belong here. The faint glimpse of ink at his throat, just visible above his collar, said otherwise. His gaze swept the room once and dismissed it. Then it landed on Eden. A brief, steady acknowledgement. "I followed you." Her pulse spiked. Vince laughed, a beat too loud. "You lost, friend?" "VIP floors upstairs." "I'm not lost," Jun-woo said calmly. His voice wasn't raised, yet it settled over the room with weight. "I'm here for a private game." Vince leaned back. "Yeah? And who are you supposed to be?" Jun-woo didn't answer with a name. Instead, he walked to the table and set down a briefcase. The sound was soft. Final. He opened it. Stacks of cash filled the case, dense, neat, real. Greed sharpened Vince's eyes. "What's this?" "A wager," Jun-woo said. "One hand." Vince's smile widened. "Of what?" "Dead man's poker." The dealer swallowed. "We don't, you do," Jun-woo said quietly. The dealer nodded immediately. Eden's stomach sank. Vince leaned forward, elbows on the table. "All right. One hand. What's the stake?" Jun-woo's gaze didn't leave Vince's face. "The debt." Vince blinked. "Which one?" "The one you're using to control her." Silence stretched. Then Vince laughed. "Man, you really did your homework." Eden's breath caught. Jun-woo continued, voice even. "If I win, every active marker tied to Eden Brooks transfers to me." Vince's smile faltered, just slightly. "Her brother's account," Jun-woo added. "Leroy Brooks. 500,000. Basement table. Rigged game. 2 weeks ago." The room went still. Eden stared at him, shock racing through her veins. He knew. Not guessed. Not assumed. He'd already uncovered everything. Vince recovered fast, but not cleanly. "And if you lose?" "I leave Vegas," Jun-woo said. "You keep the money." Vince's grin returned, hungry now. "That's it." Jun-woo's gaze sharpened. "No." He glanced at Eden, briefly, deliberately. "If I win," he said, "the debt transfers to me. And Eden Brooks no longer answers to you." Murmurs rippled around the table. Eden's chest tightened. Anger flared, hot, sharp. She was not a chip to be pushed across felt. Vince chuckled. "You want the girl." "I want the leverage removed," Jun-woo corrected. Eden's nails bit into her palms. Vince waved a hand. "Deal." The dealer began to shuffle. Time slowed. Vince played loudly, raising, joking, posturing. He leaned back, flashed confidence, enjoyed the audience. He liked power when it was witnessed. Jun-woo played in silence. No wasted movement. No visible reaction. His hands were steady, precise. When he bet, it wasn't bravado, it was inevitability. Eden watched him instead of the cards. There was something terrifying about how calm he was. Like the outcome had already been decided, and this was just the formal process of proving it. Vince raised again. You sure about this? You already lost, Junwoo said quietly. Vince laughed. Cocky. No, Junwoo replied. Prepared. The final card slid onto the table. Silence crashed down. Vince stared. Once. Twice. Then his face drained of color. That's no. That's not pay, Junwoo said. Vince shoved back from the table. This is bullshit. One of his guards shifted, hand drifting toward his waistband. Eden's blood iced. Junwoo didn't move. He reached into his jacket and produced a black card, sliding it across the felt. The dealer's eyes widened. One of the men in the corner swore under his breath. Vince's confidence cracked. What the hell is that? My reach, Junwoo said calmly. Vince stared at the card. Then at him. Color drained from his face. Vince swallowed. You run the Lee syndicate. He leaned forward slightly. Sign. The dealer brought the paperwork without being asked. Leroy Brooks. $500,000. Vince's hand shook as he grabbed the pen. Rage, greed, fear warring across his face. He signed. Junwoo stamped the transfer with practiced efficiency and closed the folder. Something ended. Vince surged to his feet. Get out of my, Junwoo stood. The room shrank around him. He walked around the table and stopped beside Vince. You used your hands to rig games, he said quietly. To hurt people. Vince sneered. So what? So Junwoo replied, you won't use them again. His grip was sudden and exact. The crack was sharp. Vince screamed and collapsed, clutching his shattered hand. Eden stumbled back, heart pounding, the velvet pouch slipping from her fingers as chips scattered across the floor. Junwoo crouched slightly, voice low and controlled. If you touch her again, he said, I will not be this patient. He straightened and turned away as if Vince no longer existed. Then he faced Eden. Are you hurt? He asked. Her throat tightened. You can't just bet on me. I didn't, he said quietly. He stepped closer, lifting her wrist gently between two fingers. Not possession. Assessment. His gaze darkened at the bruise. You were already being used, he said. I removed the hand holding the leash. He released her. What happens now? Eden whispered. Your brother is safe, Junwoo said. He's already been moved. Relief nearly buckled her knees. And the debt? She asked. His gaze held hers. It belongs to me. Her chest tightened. I don't belong to you. No, he agreed. You don't. A pause. Tomorrow, he continued, you will come to the Black Veil. Top floor. 10 p.m. Eden swallowed. And if I don't? His voice lowered, intimate and dangerous. Then I will worry. She shivered. He leaned in just enough that his breath brushed her ear. And I don't like worrying. He stepped back. Finish your shift, he said. Do not run. Eden turned and walked away on unsteady legs. When the elevator doors closed, she sagged against the wall, breath shaking. Her phone buzzed. Top floor. 10 p.m. Do not be late. She stared at the screen. He hadn't asked for her number. That scared her more than if he had. The casino lights welcomed her back like nothing had changed. But Eden Brooks knew better. Because the moment Lee Junwoo bought her brother's debt, he had marked her. Eden didn't go to the penthouse expecting answers. She went because running felt worse. The elevator ride to the top floor of the Black Veil passed in silence, broken only by the quiet hum of ascent and the reflection of her own face in the mirrored walls. She barely recognized herself, eyes too alert, shoulders held too tightly, a woman braced for impact even when nothing had touched her yet. When the doors opened, Junwoo was already waiting. Not looming. Not watching. Just standing near the windows, hands loosely folded behind his back, the strip stretched out beneath him like a living map. "You came," he said. "You told me to," Eden replied. "Yes. Not thank you. Not good. Just acknowledgement." The penthouse felt vast, but he didn't invite her deeper into it. Didn't pour a drink. Didn't close distance. That alone unsettled her more than any seductive gesture would have. "Where's Leroy?" she asked. Junwoo turned and reached for a phone on the counter, sliding it across to her without comment. Her fingers shook as she dialed. Leroy answered on the second ring. "Eden." Relief hit her so hard she had to sit. "I'm here," she said quickly. "Are you okay?" "Yes," Leroy whispered. "I'm in a hotel room. There's food. There's security outside." "Eden, I'm so sorry," she closed her eyes. "Are you safe?" "Yes. I am." A pause. "He said you'd call. He said to tell you I'm safe, and that you should listen to him tonight." Eden's gaze snapped up. Junwoo met it calmly, neither defensive nor apologetic. "Stay where you are," Eden said into the phone. "I'll come get you soon." "I will," Leroy said. "I love you." "I love you too." When the call ended, Eden set the phone down slowly. "You moved him," she said. "Yes." "You're still holding him." "He can leave once things settle," Junwoo said evenly. "Tonight, he stays where no one can reach him." The explanation didn't erase her unease, but it steadied it. "And me?" she asked. "Am I supposed to stay here too?" "No." The answer came too fast to be calculated. Eden blinked. "No?" "You have a life," he said. "A job. Routines. Visibility. Taking you off the board entirely would invite more attention, not less." "Thank you," she said quietly. He nodded once. Silence settled between them, different now. Less sharp. She looked up at him. "I should at least know who I'm talking to." He studied her for a moment. Not guarded. Just deliberate. "Junwoo," he said. She waited. "Lee Junwoo." She repeated it once, testing the sound. "Okay." Something in his posture eased, barely perceptible, but real. "Now," he said, returning to business, "we talk about what happens next." She studied him. "So what happens now?" Junwoo considered her carefully, like a man choosing the exact weight of every word. "You will go back to your life," he said. "And you will not be alone." Eden stiffened. "I'm not agreeing to be followed." "You won't see them," he replied. "You won't feel them. They will not speak to you unless you are in danger. That's still surveillance. That's protection." "I didn't ask to be followed." "You didn't ask to be targeted," he said calmly. "But you are." Eden's jaw tightened. "By who?" Junwoo was quiet for a beat. Then, "Vince was not important," he said. "He was useful. The people above him are different." She frowned. "Then why me?" His gaze sharpened, not with heat, but with precision. "Because you were visible," he said. "Because when I dismantled him, I did it for you." Eden's stomach dropped. "That made you the explanation," he continued. "And explanations are hunted." Silence pressed in around them. "So I'm leverage," she said quietly. "You are proximity," he corrected. "To me. To the disruption. To the question they want answered." "Which is?" "What would make me move like that again?" The truth landed heavy and cold. "You don't get to make decisions for me," Eden said. "No," he agreed. "But I do get to respond to threats that exist whether you acknowledge them or not." She exhaled sharply. "And if I refuse the protection?" Junwoo met her gaze. "Then I pull back," he said. "And you remain visible to men who believe pain is a language I understand." "Not a threat. A fact." Eden looked away, jaw tight. "How long?" "Until the people watching you understand that touching you does not buy them anything," he said. "And after that?" "After that," he said evenly, "you choose." That mattered more than he probably realized. The first week felt strange. Eden went back to work at the Golden Legacy as if nothing had changed, except everything had. She noticed the way certain men disappeared from the floor. How Vince's office remained dark. How security rotated in unfamiliar patterns. And sometimes when she crossed the street or left the casino late at night, she felt it, a subtle awareness, like a presence just beyond her vision. No interference. No messages. Just safety. Junwoo didn't call. He sent one text. "Are you home?" She answered. "Yes." That was it. Then another night, "Eat something." She rolled her eyes, and did. It wasn't courtship. It was attention. And that was somehow more dangerous. They started seeing each other quietly. No declarations. No rules. Just moments that stitched themselves together over time. Coffee she hadn't ordered appearing at the table where she always sat on her break. A late-night drive through the city with no destination, the windows down, the strip blurring into light. Him listening, actually listening, when she talked about her parents, about Leroy, about the weight of always being the responsible one. He never touched her without permission. Never crowded her space. But his presence was constant, steady, grounding, unmistakable. And slowly, against her better judgment, Eden realized she trusted him. Not blindly, but deliberately. The night she went to his penthouse again, it wasn't because he summoned her. He invited her. "I'm cooking," he'd said over the phone. "If you want to come." No pressure. So she did. This time, the penthouse felt different. Warmer. The kitchen lights were on. Music played softly, something low and unfamiliar. The smell of garlic and spice lingered in the air. Junwoo stood at the counter, sleeves rolled, tattoos visible in deliberate restraint, moving with the quiet competence of someone who didn't perform domesticity for effect. Eden leaned against the doorway, watching. "You cook?" she asked. He glanced at her. "I eat." She smiled despite herself. They talked while he cooked, about nothing important and everything that was. About food. About travel. About how strange it felt when life shifted without asking permission. It felt normal. That was what made the interruption jarring. His phone buzzed on the counter. Once. He ignored it. Buzzed again. He stilled. Eden felt it immediately, the way the air tightened, the way his attention snapped elsewhere. "Is everything okay?" she asked. He checked the screen. And for the first time since she'd known him, something like irritation crossed his face. "Someone is moving," he said. Her stomach dropped. "Vince." Not Vince. He crossed the room and activated the wall panel. Security feeds bloomed to life. 2 men entered the Black Veil lobby. They looked ordinary. They weren't. Eden's pulse thundered. "Who are they?" "Men who still think you're an asset," he replied. "Men who haven't learned yet. That you are mine to protect." She swallowed. "And now?" Junwoo turned to her. The warmth was gone. Not replaced by cruelty, but by focus. "Now," he said, "you stay here." "Junwoo, Eden," he said quietly, "do not make me choose between my restraint and your safety." Her breath caught. He stepped close, not touching, just close enough for her to feel the gravity of him. "Lock the door," he said. "Do not open it for anyone but me." "I will end this," he said. "Tonight." The certainty in his voice was absolute. And Eden understood with sudden clarity that everything up until now, the protection, the distance, the restraint, had been mercy. When the door closed behind him, Eden realized something chilling. The penthouse wasn't a luxury. It was a shield. And the war that began in a basement had climbed all the way to the sky. The moment Junwoo left the penthouse, the silence changed. It sharpened. Eden locked the door the way he'd told her to and stood there for a second longer than necessary, palm pressed flat to the wood, grounding herself in the simple fact of it. "I am inside. I am safe. For now." The strip burned below the windows, neon and motion and noise, completely unaware that something had been set in motion above it. She crossed the room slowly and stopped in front of the wall of glass. Somewhere down there, men were adjusting plans, making calls, convincing themselves that civilians were easy leverage and that fear always worked. They didn't know who they'd tested. The wall panel came alive without her touching it. Security feeds bloomed across the glass like a constellation. Hallways, stairwells, elevator banks, service corridors, the Black Veil lobby from 3 angles. The system was seamless, precise, predatory. Eden's breath hitched. On one screen, the lobby doors slid open. 5 men entered the black veil within seconds of one another, staggered just enough to look coincidental. Clean suits. Confident posture. No hesitation. They blended perfectly. They didn't belong. Eden felt it before she understood it, a tightening in her chest, a pressure like altitude sickness. Instinct, sharp and immediate. This wasn't curiosity. It was intent. The feeds rearranged themselves automatically, widening, tracking. 5 paths lit up across the glass. 2 men split toward the elevator banks. One peeled off toward the service stairs. Another disappeared into a staff corridor. The last lingered in the lobby, watching, not moving yet. A coordinator. Eden's breath hitched. The cameras switched again. Junwoo appeared in a service corridor beneath the casino floor, jacket back on, expression stripped of warmth and distraction. The man Eden knew, calm, deliberate, gone. This was something else. This was the version people whispered about. And for the first time, Eden understood something with terrible clarity. What he'd shown her, restraint, distance, choice, wasn't softness. It was discipline. The elevator bank cameras flickered. The 2 men there pressed the call buttons almost simultaneously. Nothing happened. They exchanged a glance, brief, professional. One tapped his earpiece. No response. The doors stayed closed. Elsewhere, the stairwell lights went out. Not flickering. Not dimming. Gone. Night vision snapped on, bathing concrete and steel in green shadow. The man on the stairs slowed, hand drifting toward his jacket. Too late. Junwoo stepped into frame behind him. No warning. No sound. He hooked the man's arm, twisted sharply, and drove him into the wall. The impact knocked the breath from him in a wet, useless gasp. Junwoo followed it with a precise strike to the throat. The man folded. Junwoo caught him before he hit the floor, lowering him without noise. Checked the pulse. Alive. The feed switched. The staff corridor. Another man moved cautiously now, suspicion blooming into urgency. He reached the corner, and stopped short as Junwoo filled the space ahead of him. This one went for his weapon. He never finished the motion. Junwoo disarmed him with a brutal efficiency that made Eden's stomach flip, wrist broken, shoulder driven into the wall, body pinned before panic could turn into resistance. The man sagged, gasping. Junwoo removed the earpiece from his ear and crushed it beneath his heel. 2 down. The lobby camera tightened on the 5th man, the one who'd stayed behind. His jaw clenched as feeds failed one by one. He turned. And ran. The elevator men noticed at the same moment. Too late. Junwoo appeared at the end of the corridor, like he'd been there all along. The 1st man charged. A mistake. Junwoo sidestepped, used the man's momentum against him, slammed him headfirst into the marble wall. The sound echoed, sharp, final. The 2nd hesitated. Another mistake. Junwoo took him to the ground hard, knee pinning his shoulder, voice low, and even as he spoke words Eden couldn't hear. The man shook his head violently. Begging. Junwoo rose. And walked away. Leaving him alive. The cameras lingered on the aftermath, bodies unconscious, scattered, breathing. No blood. No chaos. Just removal. Then Junwoo looked up. Directly into the camera. At Eden. Her breath caught painfully in her throat. Not triumph. Not fury. Just confirmation. The feeds went dark one by one. Eden's hand trembled where it rested against the glass. 5 men had come looking for leverage. None of them had even reached the elevator. Her phone vibrated. Are you okay? She swallowed. Yes. Good. I'm coming up. Minutes stretched thin and unbearable. Eden paced once, twice, then stopped. She hated the waiting. Hated the helplessness of watching violence unfold without being able to intervene. But beneath the fear, something else settled in. Understanding. This wasn't chaos. This was containment. When the door finally unlocked, she turned sharply. Junwoo stepped inside and locked it behind him. He looked unchanged, composed, controlled, untouched by the violence she'd just witnessed. He looked at her then, not assessing, not distant. Aware. I didn't want you to see that, he said, I saw all of it, Eden replied. Every screen. A beat. Then you understand why this ends tonight. Her stomach tightened. Ends how? He moved farther into the room and activated another set of feeds. New angles appeared, outside the Golden Legacy. Back corridors. Offices Eden recognized too well. The lights flickered. Then went dark. Quietly, Junwoo said. Completely. Eden's jaw tightened. You're going after the owners. Yes. They didn't touch me. They allowed it, he replied. And when I disrupted their operation, they looked for the reason. She swallowed. Me. You, he confirmed. The truth settled, heavy and unavoidable. If you do this, Eden said slowly, there's no going back. Junwoo met her gaze. I don't intend to. Silence pressed in. And if it hadn't been me, she asked. Vince would have fallen anyway, he said. But I would not have exposed myself. The distinction mattered. Eden turned away. I don't want blood on my hands. You don't have it, he said. You never did. She breathed out shakily. What happens after tonight? The Golden Legacy will be sold, he said. Its back rooms erased. To who? His gaze held steady. To me. The weight of that landed hard. And me. He didn't answer immediately. You keep your life, he said at last. Your work. Your name. And the protection? Remains, he said. Until no one remembers why it was necessary. Eden let out a breathless laugh. You're talking about dismantling memory. I'm very good at it. She studied him. And if I walk away? I make sure you can, he said. And that no one follows. You wouldn't stop me. No. A pause. But you don't want me to. He didn't deny it. Junwoo glanced at his watch. I need to finish this. Eden's heart jumped. Now? Yes. You'll come back. I will. She believed him. When he returned near dawn, Eden was still awake. The sky beyond the glass had begun to pale, the strip dimmed into something softer, almost honest. She sat curled on the sofa, arms wrapped around herself, eyes burning with exhaustion she'd refused to surrender to. Junwoo closed the door behind him. It's done, he said. She lifted her head. Meaning? No one connected to Vince will operate on the strip again. She swallowed. You erased them. I removed the incentive. Silence stretched between them, fragile and full. Eden swallowed. And the debt. Junwoo didn't hesitate. It's gone. Her brow furrowed. That's not an answer. It is, he said calmly. The entire 500,000. The number hit her harder than she expected. And you don't expect me to pay you back? She asked. No, he said immediately. Not in money. Not in obedience. Her chest tightened. Then staying would be choice, he said. Nothing else. And now? She asked. He took a step closer, stopping just short of her space. Now, he said, you are no longer proximity. Then what am I? His gaze held hers, steady, unguarded in a way she'd never seen before. You are no longer collateral. A beat. You are the prize. The words didn't feel like ownership. They felt like recognition. Eden stood slowly, her legs unsteady. That sounds dangerous. So do you, he replied quietly. They were close now, not touching, but close enough that the space between them felt charged, humming with everything they hadn't said, everything they'd chosen not to take. You promised I could walk away, she said. I still mean it. She searched his face. And if I don't want to? His breath changed. Just slightly. Then you stay, he said. Because you choose to. Not because you owe me. That was the moment. Eden reached out first. Her fingers brushed his hand, a question, not a claim. He didn't move until she laced her fingers through his. Only then did he step closer. Not fast. Not hungry. Certain. Her other hand slid to his chest, feeling the steady strength beneath his shirt, the proof that he was real, that he had come back like he said he would. Tell me to stop, he murmured. She shook her head. Don't. He leaned down slowly, giving her every chance to change her mind. She didn't. Their mouths met in a kiss that started careful, and then forgot how to be. It wasn't rushed, but it wasn't tentative either. It was the kind of kiss that carried everything they hadn't said: fear, relief, want, survival, choice. Eden felt it all in the way his breath changed against her mouth, in the way he held himself still like he was afraid of taking more than she was offering. She rose onto her toes without realizing it, needing to be closer, needing to feel that he was real. Eden breathed him in. He tasted like night and survival and something steady beneath the violence, like a man who knew exactly how dangerous he was, and chose not to be with her. His hand came up to her jaw, slow and deliberate, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. He touched her like he was learning her, not taking her, thumb warm at the corner of her mouth, palm steady, anchoring. Not claiming. Not owning. Holding. Her fingers curled into his shirt, not to pull him closer, but because she needed something solid in her hands. When they finally parted, they stayed close enough that their foreheads touched, breath tangled, the world narrowed to heat and quiet and the fragile truth between them. You didn't save me so you could own me, she whispered. No, he said, voice low, roughened. I saved you so you could choose. Her chest tightened. She kissed him again, slower this time, softer, a kiss that wasn't about hunger but about promise. About tomorrow. About staying. Junwoo broke the kiss only long enough to look at her, really look at her, like he was memorizing the choice she'd just made. Then, in one smooth, effortless motion, he lifted her into his arms as if she weighed nothing at all. Eden laughed softly in surprise, her arms sliding around his neck without thinking. He didn't say a word as he carried her deeper into the penthouse, away from glass and city and war, toward a place where they could finally be only this. Outside, the sun crept higher, turning the glass pale with morning. Inside, Eden realized something quietly, completely: this wasn't the end of a war. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous. Because this time, she was choosing him. 1 year later, the strip looked different. Sleeker. Sharper. Less forgiving. Where the Golden Legacy once stood, faded carpets, flickering lights, backroom deals disguised as tradition, there was now black glass and steel that caught the desert sun and bent it to its will. The new casino didn't shout. It didn't need to. It waited. Eden stood at the edge of the main floor, tablet tucked under her arm, heels steady against marble that still smelled faintly new. The hum of the casino wrapped around her, cards shuffling, chips clinking, low laughter threaded with anticipation. Power, distilled. Table 17 needs a limit adjustment, a floor manager said quietly as he approached. Eden glanced at the screen, scanned the numbers, then nodded once. Approved. And pull surveillance on the west corridor subtle. I don't like how long that guest has been lingering. The manager smiled. Not indulgent. Not surprised. Respectful. Done, he said, already turning away. A year ago, Eden Brooks had been shaking hands serving drinks. Now she decided who played, and who paid. She moved through the casino with an ease that still startled her sometimes. No fear in her chest. No constant vigilance. Just awareness. Confidence. Ownership earned the hard way. From the mezzanine above, Junwoo watched. Not openly. Never that. He stood behind the glass of a private lounge, hands loosely folded, suit immaculate, presence quiet but absolute. The syndicate handled the infrastructure, the expansion, the international reach. Eden handled the heart. It had been her decision, clear, deliberate, to step into the role. Not repayment. Not obligation. Choice. When she finished for the day, she took the private elevator straight to the top floor. The penthouse doors opened to warmth and quiet and the faint smell of garlic and something simmering low on the stove. You're late, Junwoo said mildly, not looking up from where he stood at the counter. Eden smiled, slipping off her heels. You love it when I'm busy. He glanced over his shoulder, eyes dark, familiar, soft in the way they were only for her. I love it when you come home. Home. The word still landed deep. She crossed the room and leaned into him, resting her forehead briefly against his shoulder. He kissed her hair without thinking, no ceremony, no hesitation. How was the floor? He asked. Profitable, she said. No incidents. Good. He turned back to the stove, stirring with calm precision. Eden watched him for a moment, the tattoos visible where his sleeves were rolled, the quiet confidence that no longer felt like a wall but a foundation. Leroy was calling her tomorrow from New York. He'd started a business. He sounded lighter every time they spoke. The debt was a memory now. So was fear. Later, they stood together by the windows, the city stretched beneath them in lights and motion. The house always wins, Eden said softly. Junwoo's arm slid around her waist, solid and warm. Only if it's run properly. She tilted her head, smiling. And if the players think they're in control? His mouth curved faintly. Then they stay. Eden turned to face him, resting her hands against his chest. We didn't plan this. No, he agreed. But we chose it. Yes. He leaned down, resting his forehead against hers, the city reflected behind them like a crown of fire and glass. In this game, he murmured, there are only 2 players left on the board. Eden smiled, slow and certain. And we're both winning. Outside, Las Vegas burned on, loud, ruthless, endless. Inside, above it all, Eden knew one simple truth. She wasn't collateral anymore. She was home.